Welcome to The Explainer. Now, if I just say the name Ross Geller, what immediately comes to your mind, right? You're probably thinking of the multiple divorces, or maybe that completely unapologetic obsession with dinosaurs. Well, get ready, because today we are going to completely challenge those preconceived notions. We're diving into the real love story of Ross Geller, and once we unpack this, it's going to entirely rewrite how you see this incredibly iconic character.
So let me ask you, what was Ross's biggest relationship? Was it Rachel? Was it Emily? What about, the 3 marriages? Take a second to really think about it. Because the paradigm-shifting answer here isn't actually a person at all. The absolute real love story of Ross's life was his career. And it's wild, because once you view his story through that specific lens, literally every baffling decision he makes suddenly clicks perfectly into place.
And yeah, I know exactly what you're thinking right now. He is famously the guy who yelled, "We were on a break." He's often just remembered as the punchline to a joke. But look beneath the memes and the divorces, and you'll find this much deeper conflict that is quietly defining his entire character. It's this continuous, honestly painful tug-of-war between his professional ambition and his personal relationships. He wasn't trying to choose one over the other. He was desperately trying to hold on to both.
Okay, let's look at where this starts in Section 1, the real love story, paleontology as a passion. If you go all the way back to the very first season, Ross is in a totally unique position. He isn't just some guy punching a clock to pay the rent. He genuinely, deeply loves what he does. He gets wildly excited about fossils and museum exhibits in a way his friends just do not get. Think about it. Contrast him with Chandler, who spends years in a corporate job he absolutely loathes, or Joey, who's constantly hustling for his big acting break. They are actively searching for meaning, while Ross, he already has the Holy Grail. He has a career that gives him true, undeniable fulfillment.
But as we'll see, that fulfillment doesn't come for free. Section 2, the price of purpose, insecurity and loss.
The catalyst for his emotional baggage actually isn't his job at all. It's his first marriage to Carol. When that falls apart, it completely shatters his foundation. It leaves him with this profound, deep-seated fear of losing the people he loves. So while paleontology didn't end that marriage, the massive fallout of the divorce left Ross with an intense insecurity. And that fear, it doesn't just fade away, it violently haunts his future relationships, always lurking right there beneath his successful, ambitious exterior.
Which brings us right to Section 3, the ambition clash, when two purposes collide. For years, Rachel was basically this idealized teenage dream for Ross. But when they finally get together in Season 3, something massive shifts. Rachel discovers her own purpose in the fashion industry. For the very first time in her life, she has a career she truly loves. So suddenly, you have 2 ambitious professionals with incredibly demanding schedules. But the tragic irony is that Ross completely misinterprets her newfound dedication. When she works late or misses an anniversary for a huge career opportunity, he doesn't see a driven professional finding her footing. He just sees her drifting away from him.
And this dynamic hits the nail on the head regarding their famous breakup. Ross's core desire is stability, while Rachel's core desire is growth. Actually, scratch that. It wasn't just a breakup, it was a collision. At its absolute core, this was 2 ambitious professionals failing to balance stability and growth. And the crazy part? Neither of them is wrong. The timing simply just wasn't on their side.
Let's jump ahead to a totally different vibe. Section 4, the illusion of certainty, the professor era.
This is an era at NYU that gets overlooked a lot, but it's where Ross seemingly finds immense professional success. I mean, look at the resume. He earns his doctorate, he's publishing research, working at the museum, and eventually becomes a university professor. He's mentoring students and building real academic respect. Yet the brutal irony of Ross Geller is that despite checking literally every single box of traditional textbook professional success, he is often the least satisfied person in the room. So why is he so miserable? Well, it all boils down to a massive psychological roadblock, the either-or fallacy. This is the totally flawed belief that you have to choose exclusively between 2 options. It's career or love, responsibility or happiness, stability or risk. Ross constantly treats his life like a zero-sum game, absolutely refusing to let those things seamlessly coexist. And honestly, that fallacy explains his next major life choice perfectly. Emily. Because Emily represents certainty, not a soulmate. Getting engaged to her within mere weeks wasn't about finding his perfect, magical match. No way. It was a desperate attempt to choose stability.
After years of agonizing heartbreak and totally messy uncertainty with Rachel, Ross just wanted to lock down a sure thing.
But, well, we all know how that turned out. Ross, take thee, Rachel. The London wedding disaster is iconic for a reason, guys. It brilliantly shows us that certainty is a total illusion. You absolutely cannot use logical, safe choices to pave over unresolved, messy emotions. He tried so hard to force stability over passion, and his heart spectacularly hijacked the entire plan.
All right, fast forward a few years to the end game. Section 5, the final choice, the Paris dilemma. We hit the series finale, and the poetry here is just unbelievable. The roles are completely reversed. Now Rachel receives the dream job opportunity of a lifetime in Paris, and Ross is forced to stare down the ultimate question: what matters more, love or career? It is the exact same dilemma that has haunted him for a decade. Only this time, it's not his career on the line. He has to decide if he can step back, drop his need for control, and let the woman he loves pursue her ultimate dream.
And that is exactly why the famous airport scene remains so incredibly powerful. They stop trying to control the outcomes, and they just choose each other. The massive growth here isn't about someone sacrificing their career for love. It's that Ross finally stops trying to micromanage the situation. He asks her to stay simply because she matters to him. They finally drop the either-or choices, trusting that they can just figure the rest of it out together.
Which brings us to our final takeaway. Section 6, the universal dilemma, life without perfect choices.
Up until now, we've been looking pretty intimately at Ross, but I want to shift the focus directly to you for a second. Because these are questions almost all of us face, right? Do you accept that promotion that forces you to relocate? Do you spend those extra hours building your career, or do you invest that time in your relationships? Just how much of yourself are you willing to sacrifice for success? Ross's impossible balancing act between the life we build and the people we love is a direct mirror of the sacrifices we make every single day.
So when we step back and look at Ross Geller, what do we see? We see someone who is messy, totally insecure, fiercely ambitious, and deeply emotional. He is simply human. His continuous and yes, often spectacularly wrong attempts to balance his immense success with his deep desire to be loved are exactly what make him so fundamentally relatable. He never found a perfect answer because, well, there isn't one, but he never stopped trying to find the balance.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, provocative thought to ponder in your own life. If your career and the love of your life pulled you in exact opposite directions, what would you choose? Thank you so much for exploring this fascinating dynamic with me, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.